The following is a production of Stevenson Media.
And what is going on, everyone? And welcome to another edition of Houston Texans football. We are running today's episode a little bit different. I am going to be at the helm today. That is Nick Stevenson, the president of Houston Sports. You can find him weekly, guys. He drops fantastic content. He writes fantastic articles about the Houston Rockets. Go check out his latest piece about Mr. Hakeem the Dream Elijah. Nick, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I kind of like this, man. Getting to chill back, sit back a little bit. Let Mr. 713 take over. I feel it. I dig it.
Let me flex my muscles a little bit. Let me flex my muscles. Well, we got something to talk about, man. Something that I feel like we are both on, different ends of the side, but still very close in the middle. Houston Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair. We know what happened. Big hit. Trevor Lawrence gets knocked out of the game. Suspension a couple of days ago, 3 games. We hear a very, very interesting piece from NFL VP Jon Runyan talking about Azeez Al-Shaair's integrity of the game being at stake here. We were waiting to see whether or not the appeal was going to be successful or unsuccessful. And no, Nick, as of yesterday, Azeez Al-Shaair suspended for the 3 games. The appeal does not go through. The reaction, I mean, the fact that it's Thursday, the hit happened on Sunday, we are still talking about this. It's absolutely crazy. But your first reactions to Azeez Al-Shaair's appeal being declined. It is 3 games, so he will miss the Miami Dolphins, the Baltimore Ravens, and Kansas City Chiefs game.
My initial reaction is that this is an overreaction by the NFL. I think the NFL overreacted to the public outcry. And we can talk about why there was such a large public outcry. I think there's many reasons. I think, first of all, it looked nasty, right? You see the hit. Trevor Lawrence goes into that fencing position. We've all recognized it. We've seen it happen multiple times. And so it looked bad. It looked egregious, right? Then everything all of the aftermath, the optics of it don't look great. And so I think the Twitter spaces went crazy. People were posting. And unfortunately, I think there was a majority that was heard that probably shouldn't have been heard. But I think the league overreacted to the reaction by the spaces, and they tried to save face. I think the NFL is very hypocritical when it comes to player safety. Don't tell me you care about player safety when you've got multiple teams playing 3 games in 10 days, when Tua Tagovailoa is still playing football. I think they had an opportunity to stand on their high horse and once again pretend to care about player safety. And I think they made an example of Azeez Al-Shaair. And that's my initial reaction to it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I just think that the 3 games was, uncalled for.
For sure.
Normally when we see an appeal, we think that it's going to be successful. And I wasn't saying cut it all the way down to 1. I think you were at 1, Nick. I was saying just keep it at 2. Right. We get them back during the Baltimore Ravens game. And okay, everyone's not too mad, but they understand why, they gave him a 2 game instead of
I initially thought 1. Once I found out it was 3, I hoped the appeal would knock it back to 2. I've never seen an appeal not knock off at least a game.
And I think that's where a lot of fans get upset, man, because it seems like that they tried to make an advantage. Well, they did make an advantage of Azeez Al-Shaair, a player who's never been suspended before, a player who's never been ejected before until this game on Sunday. The fact that he is given 3 games in our toughest part of our schedule, I think it's a little uncalled for. When I hear the conversations from Jon Runyan, right, talking about the integrity of the game being at risk when he himself was voted the 2nd most dirtiest football player of all time.
Guys, go Google Jon Runyan. Go put his YouTube clips in. You can see the type of player he was. I agree with you.
When I see Trey Wingo, former host of NFL Live, saying that Azeez Al-Shaair ended Trevor Lawrence's season, when we all know that's not the case, like you said, all the outside noise really, affected the decision, the suspension. And this is where Houston Texans are coming up with the idea, man, that it is Houston versus everyone in this moment. And it stinks, man. It stinks, Knicks. I know you feel some type of way, but I just definitely felt like, man, this was an effort to not only make a statement, like you said, about player safety, but also trying to ruin a team that has no business being in the big playoff picture. We know who they want. That's Kansas City. That's Baltimore. Maybe it's Buffalo. We know they don't want the Houston Texans up there. And I think that, they potentially poked the bear. We'll get to that later. But
yeah, I'll give you
it
this,
smells
Ruben.
fishy to me, man.
Yeah, I'll give you this. I've tried my best to avoid being a conspiracy theorist when it comes to the NFL being fixed. But I'm starting to see a lot of stuff, man, that really makes me wonder. This Kansas City Chiefs season, for instance,
they sacrificed something,
has been really, really fishy. What we saw in the Bears game with Matt Eberflus just letting the clock run out on his team when he could have kicked a field goal to tie that game, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen some weird stuff, man. The referees have way too much control over these games. And while I'm not ready to say this was a conspiracy to try to keep the Texans out of the playoffs, because number one, I don't think the Texans are, at least, appear to be that big of a threat to anybody in the playoffs right now. But I just I'm not ready to go there yet. But I do believe that, Ramon Foster being in charge of this decision, or at least being involved in this decision, the NFL, there's no way. If you want to do your job, then you have to at least remove even the idea that maybe there's some bias in this decision. And so whether it was bias or not, just the appearance of the possibility that there is bias, the NFL failed and didn't do their job. Put somebody in charge that there's no reason to have any reproach on that person, or to think for any reason that they would not make a completely unbiased decision.
You brought up Ramon Foster, former Tennessee tight end, another player who is regarded as a dirty player when he played. Just another, thing that adds on to how smelly this is. He has a radio station in Tennessee. There is a tweet out there, from that radio station, which said Ramon Foster, will be in the session in regards to hearing Azeez Al-Shaair's appeal. The radio station gave him the googly eyes. They quote tweeted that. You see all that, and you just mentioned a lot of other stuff. It's hard to say how this is not fishy. And we talked about poking the bear. You heard D'Amico Ryans. Trevor Lawrence should have slid faster. The Jaguars sideline overreacted right then and there. I was surprised. I'm not gonna lie to you, Nick. I was thinking, D'Amico was gonna come out and say, that's not our brand of football. That's not what we coach. That's not what we teach. I'll talk to Azeez. No, the fact that he doubled down, stood for his guy, I did not expect that. I loved it. Seeing it the next day from general manager Nick Caserio. And when was the last time we've seen this man curse? When was the last time we've seen him this animated in front of a microphone? Dude, Nick Caserio, D'Amico Ryans, they got their players back.
Yeah, 100%. And if you recall, right after the game, D'Amico did say that, hey, that's not our brand of football. But I think he hadn't had an opportunity to look at the replay yet. That was his initial reaction. And I think once he got a chance to see that as Trevor Lawrence is beginning to slide, and he's sliding late.
He did say that first. Yeah, he did say that first.
But I think after he got a chance to look at it and he saw, hey, as he's getting ready to slide, Azeez is already, preparing himself, engaging in the tackle. And, it's real easy for everybody to say, oh, well, you should have jumped over him. But, man, I mean, listen, I've never played football anything close to the level that these gentlemen are playing.
Hell no.
But what are defensive players supposed to do? And I've been saying that I think it's stupid that there's another set of rules for the quarterback when he's a runner anyway. Because if Trevor Lawrence just takes that hit like any other football player would have, he probably gets right up and the game continues. But the fact that they have the option to slide to avoid being hit, and you can't police, what are they going to do? Put a slide clock on there now? Just get rid of the slide altogether. Quarterback, if you're going to run, you're going to get hit. Or, Mark Schlereth of ESPN went as far as to say, then don't allow quarterbacks to run. because it's getting ridiculous at this point. I think it's too difficult to try to police that part. So I think the slide probably put Trevor Lawrence in more danger than if he would have just taken a regular hit. That's just my opinion.
And you're not the first, second, or third person to say that.
Yeah.
We just got some words from Zaire Franklin, EJ Speed, Colts linebackers. They said they are Team Azeez. They said Trevor Lawrence should have slid faster. Just came out like 2 minutes ago. Also, that just came out 2 minutes ago. This is breaking news. Texans signing Brevin Jordan to a 1-year contract extension. That is via Ian Rappaport, ladies and gentlemen. So here on the Twin Toros podcast, man, you get breaking news, you get great conversations. What more can you want? Shout out to Brevin, man. Happy that he got that 1-year deal.
Shout out to you for staying plugged in, Ruben. That's good. That's good work on your part too.
You have to, man. You have to have the Twitter up here open. You gotta have those Twitter notifications turned on because you never. I mean, our trajectory of a video could absolutely change.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
What was it yesterday? I think we did one for ESPN, and as soon as we get off, or was it Monday we did one? We get the news about the suspension.
Right.
We're like, oh man, we should have went on for 10, 15 minutes. But I do think potentially this works in the Houston Texans' favor mindset wise. I know what this team is. This team is set. But if you come out of the bye week after a rest, I will see that. Right? Yeah. They're gonna let this cook for the next week. It's Houston versus everyone. Look what they just did to Azeez Al-Shaair. They are painting us the villains. They are still continuing to painting us the villains at Thursday, December 5th, 10:37 a.m. Yeah. This is going to marinate with these Houston Texans players. Seeing your head coach and GM just really stack up for you and seeing the reactions from his post, man. And I'll bring up Azeez's post in 1 second. Give me 1 second, Mr. Nick.
Yeah. While you're bringing that up, I'll just say, I agree with you 100% that this should galvanize the team. The Texans have played without Azeez Al-Shaair this season. Fortunately, their defense is the deepest side of the ball. So it's next man up. Neville Hewitt. We heard Christian Harris may be coming back. What is it? What's Hanson's first name? I keep on calling
Jake Hanson.
Jake Hanson.
I almost called him Scott Hanson.
I almost called him Chris Hansen to catch a predator.
But next man up mentality. From General Manager Nick Caserio, he said we'll see Christian Harris sooner rather than later. Aaron Wilson said we might see him against Miami. I mean, that's a huge get back, right? Couldn't have come at a better time. However, we haven't seen Christian Harris all year. We have to determine whether or not the rust, needs to knock off. He needs a couple of weeks of football, to get back to where he was at the end of the year. From Azeez Al-Shaair, if you want me to be the villain, I'll be your villain. See you soon.
Watch out, Tennessee. Watch out, Will Levis, because he'll be back week 18.
Man, I'm excited.
Yeah. I listen. I embrace the whole villain galvanizing H-Town versus everybody because I think it's going to make them have a chip on the shoulder. Hopefully it focuses them. I don't want to see any stupid penalties in the next 3 weeks. Be focused. Play the same brand of football you've been playing.
Yeah.
Please don't have in the back of your mind, I don't want to get penalized. I don't want to. You can't. And that's what's so frustrating about this, Ruben.
It seems like we're going, Nick. It's right there.
That's what I think. If Azeez Al-Shaair is in that situation again, I think he's going to do the exact same thing because that one moment of hesitation is either one, going to get you beat and scored on, and that's taking money out of your pocket because that film sticks with you. And every time you're a free agent, they're going to say, hey, look at this chance he had to make a play and he didn't. And number two, he could get himself hurt by hesitating. Yep. What if he's about to engage in that tackle, but he hesitates, not wanting to hit the quarterback, and then gets cracked back, blocked by one of these offensive linemen or something like that, man.
What if he did jump over Trevor Lawrence and his knee hit the top of the helmet and got injured?
Right.
Like, we don't know. And it's just, I agree with you. I don't want my defensive players having to worry about whether or not, they need to hit this guy hard.
Yeah.
Because then we start talking about missed tackles, big plays allowed, touchdowns allowed. And we don't want our players gun shy, which is why we see a lot of these reactions of people saying, oh, I'm Team Azeez. Yeah. I'm Team Azeez. You know who else is Team Azeez, Nick? Eric Armstead, former teammate of Azeez Al-Shaair, current Jacksonville Jaguar, liked his post.
Huh. Interesting. I wonder how that's going to go over in the Jaguars locker room. But
You
hey,
know they don't
listen.
like that, and he just signed a 3-year, $50 million deal.
Yeah, man. But these defensive players, I think they are joined in the fact that they're tired of every time there's a rule change, man. Every time there's something that's getting cracked down on, it's always on the defense. There's less and less accountability on the offensive side of the ball for them not to get, helmet to helmet contact. If it's a defensive player using his helmet, that's a problem. When an offensive player uses his helmet to create space on a run, that's okay. I understand the defensive players being frustrated, man. For me, though, what was that?
I just saw Joe Mixon's comments under Azeez Al-Shaair's. Don't worry about it, pimp. We gonna step for you on me. Ooh! I can't
Yeah,
wait.
man. I hope. Look. The Texans needed a spark, right? And maybe the silver lining around this whole thing is because I told you last week. I thought.
Why does Howard's lazy ass responded?
Wait, I thought he had deleted his Twitter.
He deleted Twitter, not Instagram.
Oh,
Remember,
okay.
he needs to post his pics.
Got to post them fashion pics, right? No, but what I'm saying is that, I said last week in the moment that it hurt the team for him to get kicked out of the game and that it would hurt the team for him to be suspended. However, the silver lining is, like we've been saying, it seems like this team is pulling closer together and they're going to come out of the bye week hopefully rested and then hopefully with a chip on their shoulder. And they're going to need it, man, because like we've been talking about, it's the toughest part of their schedule coming up.
Could you imagine if we saw Nick, not Nick, but CJ within a free Azeez shirt or something like that?
I think the whole team needs to show up to the game in free Azeez shirts.
Dude, if you do that, you're embracing the villain.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like you really are. I mean, and Houston, we're used to being there, right? Astros cheated. I don't care. We got 2 rings. Move along.
Yeah.
When have the Rockets ever been really hated? I mean, maybe during the James Harden era, the amount of slander he got week in.
Well, Dylan Brooks is kind of embracing that role now.
Who cares about Dylan Brooks, brother? No one cares about the Rockets right now, Nick. All right, I'll tell you that right. But shout out to the Rockets, man.
Some people care. Some people
against
care.
The Sacramento Kings. Hey, we saw Coach Ime get in the ref's face and
got ejected. Shingun got ejected. That's what I'm saying, bro.
We're
like
villains, brother. And if we're
H-Town is the town of villains.
I don't care.
I'll do it. I'll take it.
I'll take it. But ladies and gentlemen, we just want to thank you for being a part of today's episode. It was me and Mr. Neek Stevenson, the president of Houston Sports. Man, let them know where they can find you.
Listen, man, I'm on Houston Sports State of the Union podcast on YouTube. I'll make sure I send my link tree over to Ruben so you guys can follow me on YouTube and all of my socials. I do a weekly Houston Sports State of the Union address where I give you the temperature of all 3 of our major Houston sports teams. Every now and again, I'll dabble in some Cougs, dabble in some Houston Dynamo. Man, I'm trying to
say something crazy.
Was that?
I thought you were gonna say, we dabbling in some cooch. I was like, what? I was like, on
we
stream,
dabble into
bro?
Houston Cougs, not older women. But if you want to talk older women, listen, man, it's open for all discussions, man, on the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. But thank you so much, Ruben. Like I said, it's always I'm blessed to have been able to team up with you and ESPN Houston and be a part of this show with you. I'm just riding your coattails, baby, and I'm trying to take us to victory.
And hey, if it wasn't for you working, bro, you would have been there in College Station with me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So guys, make sure
we just said, hey, Joe, we got this, bro. Go ahead and take 4 hours off.
Make sure you guys go subscribe to Nick. Let's get him away from those dangerous power plants. Let's get him on the air 365 days of the year. Guys, for more Houston Texans content, just follow me on Houston. Just type in 713 Houston Sports, and I pop right up. Once again, thank you guys, everyone, for being a part of this episode. Azeez Al-Shaair suspension is upheld, 3 games. Christian Harris potentially coming back. Also, one thing we didn't talk about, Bobby Slowick's not going anywhere. General Manager Nick Caserio said absolutely not when it comes to play calling. So, hey, my wishes of Gerard Johnson are gone.
It's that lucky haircut, man.
It had to be. He had to get a fade, and it worked, right? He said, and you know what? I was telling AD this, bro. I was saying, if you would have won last week against Tennessee, and you would have said, hey, you scored 1 touchdown in the second half to Nico Collins, right? Gets negated by penalties, as we know. But imagine that would have stayed. You would have won that game. You win the Jaguars game. You scored 2 tutties in the second half and a field goal. Hey, you went from 1 to 2 in the field. Baby steps.
You're feeling nice, right?
Baby steps. I'm feeling nicey. So,
and now the whole team is fired up over this Azeez thing, man. So
yeah, they got that Azeez Al-Shaair Red Bull.
First play of the Miami game, I want a bomb to Nico Collins, brother.
First play, I want an all-out blitz.
Oh yeah, on defense, yeah. That'd be good
Even
too.
the corners.
First play of the game, man. I love it.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much, man. And once again, you have a very blessed day.
Love y'all. Good night.